What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Server Play series, or ForgeServ series. So I've been actually making some crushed quartz here, and I'm making some quartz glass because downstairs I have relocated the crusher. It's no longer in the center. I moved it over here, which means that I also need to relocate a few other things. But I figured what I could do is make some quartz glass and maybe do a few pieces that were the enlightened variety, just to make that area nice and lit. So it looks like it uses a little bit, but not very much, of the glowstone that we have. And that should be no problem at all. So there's a few things that I do want to get done this episode. The first thing that I thought would be really cool would be to get a few upgrades for our thermal machines. If we can get some power upgrades and some augments, that would be pretty useful. I think it would be kind of something that we pretty seriously need. The machines over there are ridiculously slow, to be completely honest with you. So it would be great to be able to get that handled, if possible. And of course, I'm sitting here thinking too much about what to say to realize that I'm actually not doing anything. Oh yeah, another really cool thing that has happened in between episodes is we are now on Minecraft version 1.12.1. We did a version bump, and the only mod that we lost was better FPS, which I think everyone who plays can afford to lose or already needed Optifine anyways, and so they're kind of stuck needing that either way. So hopefully that should work out, and ideally, of course, better FPS will be on soon. Oh, and I also have, we also have my mod Tinker's add-ons. That's a neat mod. Got the NBT recipes working. It took a couple hours to figure out basically how the recipes work. But once I did, everything obviously is working pretty nicely. So yeah, I think something like this would be pretty cool for our crusher, and we can just do a very simple setup for all of our item transmission and whatnot. So I do need to figure out, first of all, I'll need to fill this hole and figure out how to handle our outputs, but that's why there's a single slot in the front, or a single block's worth of space here in the front. But you know, the more I think about it, the more I'm actually wondering, especially because of this conduit line here, or rather this pipeline here, where it's already kind of coming straight across anyways. It might actually make more sense if we just did 3 like that, right? It might make more sense if we just flipped this this crusher so that our outputs were on the back side, which would be a little strange, granted, but I think it would actually be better. So why don't I do that real quick? Why don't I rebuild the crusher here in basically reverse orientation? The output would be on the back, and the power input would be on the left, which would be more convenient. So let me do that. And there we are. So now, like I said, everything is now completely reversed, which might actually work better, because I'd like to have at least a little bit of automation going forward. It might not be a ton, but definitely, hopefully, something should come up as far as automation opportunities. So let's take a look at what we've got. So, oh, I forgot to grab our structural ducts so that we can go forth with some pretty neat appearances. Wonder why you're sitting. I never told you to sit. Are all of my dogs sitting? All of the dogs are sitting. That might be part of the 112 update. Let's see. So let me grab a structural duct. And of course, there's a few other things that we might look into fixing as well. I'm willing to bet that Mala is sitting downstairs as well. Yep, here we go. Fix that up. And it appears as though these have miraculously rotated for whatever reason. Does this help at all? I hope. Possibly. Oh, there is a servo missing. I've noticed a few weird little things here and there with the update to 112, and that's one of them, is that sometimes the servos go missing. So give me just a minute to fix that up and make sure that everything else down here is also working. So now that I've gotten all the wiring downstairs pretty cleaned up and kind of worked on, I want to make 8, yes, 8 redstone furnaces. Now I've already got these furnaces from Extra Utils, and they're okay, but I prefer the well, I don't know. In general, I prefer the configurability of the thermal expansion ones. I guess that's just kind of my overall preference is the configurability. So if we need 8, then we're going to need 16 of the clay blocks here, turned into just clay. And for now, since I don't have any machines to use these or to smelt with, we can go ahead and just slap our furnace over here in the corner. Completely temporary, because we have some other stuff to do while that crafts anyways. So yeah, basically all of my machines were working except for anything with, like, sidedness from thermal expansion, which is a bit weird, a bit peculiar, but, you know, whatever. It seems to be working just fine now. I'm curious how the viaducts handled. I'm sure they're fine. I can actually come over here and check it real quick to see. Oh, maybe not. Maybe that is a little messed up. Oh well, we'll figure it out at some point because I'm sure Theoku will be back on very soon. So, now we need to go ahead and get the rest of the redstone furnace stuff handled. So that's going to be 16, which means we're going to need a whole stack of iron, or copper, but that's okay. We're doing really well on copper. So we need 16 gears. And believe me, this is a whole lot of stuff to be making. We need 8 of you, which means 16 of you. We'll need 8 of these, which means we'll need a bunch of iron and 32 copper. I wonder if I'm going to have enough glass. Hopefully. I think I should. Yeah, sweet. This is definitely a part of this, is I want to start making more glass a little more efficiently, and this will help. So then we'll just need 8 more of these, and we can go ahead and set everything up here, so it's just these 2, and those, and that, and that. And now we're just waiting for our 64 bricks to cook up. So I will wait until those are done, and I'll be back once they are. There you go. So, with our 16 brick blocks all ready and raring to go, we can just hop over here and go ahead and finish up our, boom, 8 redstone furnaces. So you might be asking, what the heck is he using that many redstone furnaces for? Well, I'll give you a hint. It also involves a lot of item ducts. So let's go ahead and make opaque item ducts, because I'm not really too particularly concerned about the visibility of our items through these. And let's make quite a few here, because we're going to need a few for the entire project. But I'm not concerned about being able to see. I'm just concerned about being able to transport items. I also want to grab 10 more iron. We'll do 10 more. And I'm going to need another chest, and I think somewhere around here I had a crate. Oh, there we go. I've got that crate, and that is going to be part A. What else should we use for our inputs? I'm trying to think of some cool storage blocks potentially, but maybe not. Oh well. So we will have more hoppers. That's not how you make a hopper. That is. Because basically this will work in a few really cool ways. So these hoppers are going to act as buffers going into the redstone furnace. We're going to need round robin. So I think it's... what is it? Is it... there's a tooltip, and I don't remember what it was. Okay, well, I don't care anymore. It is a servo. There's a servo type that I'm looking for, which offers round robin. Let's see, filter options, extraction rate 100%. Do they all offer round robin? And I just don't remember. That might be the case, although I really did not think so. So let me double check. No. I don't suppose an electrum one would make a difference, would it? Here we go. Nearest first for this round robin. That's the one we're looking for. Great, great. So we want to round robin into all of those. And let me see. Yeah, so I think that's going to work out. What we want to do now, I may or may not have needed those hoppers. I actually thought I would, but I'm kind of thinking I won't. I do need to grab some more flux ducts, though. And we'll grab a decent bit of those. And that should be good to go. So I've started with some preliminary wiring here. And basically the way this will work, we have our power pipeline coming through here now. And somewhere around here, there it is, we have this, which we're going to want to tap into. We're also going to want to go around, because I made 8 of these for a reason, and that is because we're going to have some automatic smelting going on. So we're going to want to have our redstone energy flux ducts, I guess, just go along like this, along the edges there. That should probably work out just nicely. And we'll route our power around the back. Nope, too far. This way, though. And I can just do a conjure light spell. And that should fix our darkness issues. Pardon the train if you can hear that in the background. I don't know why the train is so loud at almost midnight, but whatever. Fortunately for the train, I am already awake. Otherwise, I would be very upset. So, we can put down our redstone furnaces here. And, let's see, we don't need that guy, but we do need the rest of these. These are going to get power. In fact, it seems as though they already have. That's pretty fantastic. And now, if I adjust this like so, that's actually going to leave us more sides free. So that's why I like this setup. So the way this will work is like so. We're going to have, around the back of our setup here, we'll put a light right here, because I think that should be our output. I believe that is our output. Yes, that is our output. So we'll have our output there, and we'll tell it to... Oh, does that not work? Perhaps that doesn't work. So we can just make a chest or a crate or something. I guess I'll just make a crate. I've got the treated wood, and it'll be a solid block. So we'll have a crate. So items will extract or output into the crate, and then they will go into one of 2 places. First of all, we'll do round robin. We will replace our stone blocks here. We'll tell you always active. Round robin. Ignore mod owner. Ignore, let's see. So empty blacklists. Everything gets pulled out. So now, if we run this conduit over, then in theory, we should be good as far as our inputting goes. So now, if I were to toss something in here, it would go... kind of bothers me how this is looking, but kind of slim on options here. I think I just have to deal with it. For now. I could make better conduits if I wanted to, but I kind of don't, to be honest. It's kind of a pain. I guess what I could do is come all the way back here and bring these up a level. And so if we brought them over like this, there, that keeps my miniature OCD a little bit more tame. Because now if it drops over, that's okay with me. So we will input on these outer edges. So what we'll do is we'll do output and input. And then we'll do input, output, and input, output. So we're going to insert on the sides, output on the back. And the beautiful thing about these conduits is that they can be disconnected from each other. I really do love these guys a lot. So if we do that, we'll have just those 4 completely isolated from any other connections. Once again, ignore that connection, and we'll tell it to ignore these 2 connections. And we can output into a storage crate here. So what I'm going to do is make a few, we'll uncraft these into structural ducts. I'll keep those. Let's see, we'll do that. And our output for this guy will be a crate. We'll change up the texture a little bit with some slate roof. And we will go ahead and put this here. So the caveat here is if somehow we get too many outputs, then we're going to run into some problems. But in theory, because I can't remember, there used to be like a weighted item duct, or see, and there's not one anymore. There used to be some sort of method of assigning certain priorities to inventories. Maybe if I did a filter, we could play with the filter and see what may pass through it. Blacklist, MBT mod owner. Yeah, let me see if that might help us out. Well, I believe that in theory this should be working. So if we just break through here, for now, I've got a plan for how to implement the input for this, but breaking through is kind of just how we're doing it for now. And toss in our gravel. It'll get crushed. And ideally, our output should be extracted at some point. Keep in mind that the items are actually still traversing through physical space. So it's not instant like item ducts were from, or item conduits were from Ender.io. They still have to actually get here. But if I did everything right, then in just a minute, our items should eventually make their way over here, unless I mess something up. I might have messed something up. Let's just check our crate over here. No, they're not in the crate, so maybe they're being smelted as I speak, and now I can't see it. Watch that be the case. Yep, that's the case. So we should end up with roughly 6 glass. And there we go. Cool. So yeah, that's kind of the premise, is just some very simple stuff like that. Not really too complex, if you ask me. Now, the last piece of the puzzle here is getting our inputs. So the problem with that is I don't actually know how I'm going to do that. Because it definitely is going to be some trickery if I do. But actually, you know, I could just do this. I could do item duct opaque. And I know it's getting a little crazy, but we have some organization. So what I would like is for our, let's see, we'll do blink. And we will route this up. And over. And I can't get up. Well, that's good enough, because that is where we'll have an item, or a precision item dropper from Actual Additions. So we'll just have to put that in, and that should probably be all that's left, short of course, filling this back in. And let's see. The finishing touch. I'll need those. I also need a servo, and I also need a dropper. So why don't we go get that real quick? Should not be that difficult to do, though. So if we need, let's see, we need another filter. No, servo. We need another servo, so that's 2 more iron nuggets. Let's just go ahead and make a few of these. We need 3 glass. That can be handled. We'll make 3 of those. And we'll just, let's see. We'll probably want to increase the speed on these a little bit, or at least like how many they can output at once. So probably just do that for now. I'll keep the other servos though, because I think I will need them as well. And I might need one of those upgraded, so we will upgrade it too. And then we will have, let me think, reservoir. Oh, we will have a precision dropper. So that's a normal dropper, 2 payless crystals. I actually already have that. And the coil is just, let's see, 8 gold nuggets. I have a lot of stuff in my inventory that I should probably put away. We can alleviate a little bit of that. I also don't believe I need wiring stuff right now. We can put that away. Don't need the kiln bricks. I'm probably done with the kiln now that I've got my beautiful setup with machinery going. And then let's see. This guy is 4 Restonia and a black quartz. So yeah, I had to remove the realistic item drops mod. It was causing a terrible, terrible, terrible dupe bug with, well, with everything. Not really, but it was with applied logistics specifically, and it was pretty bad from what I was told. And so since another mod developer was the one who told me that the problem was there in the first place, then I'll take their word and believe that it really was as bad as it was. So I removed it. So yeah, basically removed it, and I tried out Item Physics Lite again, which is what we had when the server first started. And unfortunately, Mandy says hello, by the way. That's not unfortunate. Sorry, that came out the wrong way. But unfortunately, Item Physics Lite is not compatible with 1.12.1 yet. So for the time being, we've just kind of had to deal. Let's see, so that should be redstone mode deactivation, which means it should always be active. We will blink out of here, put that on here. It can now output stacks of 32 at a time. And now, if we had anything that we could both crush and then smelt, such as gravel, but I don't actually want to do that. Maybe I've got something else that we could crush then smelt. I guess technically you can crush any of the ingots and then we can just smelt it back into an ingot again. Doesn't really make sense to do that, but we totally could. Let's do more than 10. Let's do like 20 to prove the point. Just kind of want to show, one, why I've got such a ridiculous amount of energy right now with the whole red orchid thing. And two, by the way, I fixed that up all nice and pretty. And two, want to show off this entire setup and its validity. So this should take the entire half stack at once, send it on over to the dropper. Really? That doesn't work. That's a nuisance. And there you go. So now, everything should eventually start smelting. As you can see, our storage crate is going to start gathering all of our outputs as well. So it's not the fastest smelting machine because these aren't impulse item ducts, but it's pretty darn good. So let me go make that storage crate real quick, and I think we might call it an episode at that point. There we go. And now we can just put that down, put the reinforced servo on it, extract a stack at a time. Don't care about that. And now, if we just do 1, oh no, that's not what I wanted. 2, and actually I should do this one first. 3. There we go. That guy should now start to auto output, and I wonder, I did cover up the back. Look at that. I already remembered. So yeah, short of having to fill in this hole over here, which I keep forgetting that I need to do, I think this is a pretty good point to wrap up the episode. Now that's going to bother me that those are not even. So there we go. Now that is nice and fixed up, I move this over a bit and we should be good to go. And it should still continue to output. So again, not the fastest, but now we have a method of auto smelting our ores and processing our ores whenever we go on a big mining adventure, because those do tend to take a while and do seem to give us back a ton of resources. So now that we have all those resources, you know, gathered, we will want to smelt them pretty quickly. So I think this will be a good solution for that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Let's Play series, and I will see you guys in the next one.